Hello, digital friends. I wanted to talk about kind of a few topics today. I guess the overarching theme is housework. Something we all have to do, and that kind of has this like bad rap, at least in my experience. I have pretty much my whole life experienced this like feeling of like ugh, every time there's stuff to do around the house, whether it's a repair or just general like cleanliness, um, or like monthly maintenance type stuff, that kind of stuff. It's been really hard shifting my whole attitude towards it, and I have realized that for me personally, a lot of my hesitance to doing it and like struggling with the executive dysfunction and stuff, um, a lot of it stems for me from trauma, around trying to do housework and it just like never being good enough for my mom, being yelled at whenever I tried to clean something, and then being yelled at and screamed at, like just profusely degraded if I was dirty. So I had to, it was this weird kind of like thing that I had to go through as a child, like, under 10, where I didn't want to be dirty, but I didn't really know how to clean. So I just kind of had to figure it out. And every time I tried to figure it out, I was wrong. So it was very traumatic for me to go through, and it brought on this sense of dread every time something got dirty. Um, and so I've been working through it in my own way. I have a couple of videos where I shared how I experienced like bliss and nirvana doing the dishes, because I was like, okay, I don't want to have this attitude anymore. Like, what needs to change? And I decided, like, okay, give myself the opposite experience. Like, I'm so like psyched to do the dishes. Like, instead of dreading it, I'm like amped and I'm grateful and excited. And it, it was kind of a fake it till you make it kind of thing. But I had to actually genuinely put myself in that emotion for a second, and then I could kind of fake it through the rest of the way. If that makes sense. Like, it wasn't this continuous like state of nirvana as I was putting away the whole dishwasher. It was more like I was putting the dishes away deep in thought, and I had to stop for a second, and I had this spiritual and emotional experience where I was just so deeply grateful for the fact that I had dishes to clean, that I could feed my family, that I was in a house like that had a dishwasher, and that I didn't have to have dirty dishes. That was really a lot of what I was grateful for in that act of cleaning. And so, and then too, the concept of consecrating actions to my highest self, to God, the universe, whatever you want to call these things. The thing that's bigger than just you in your head, right? And so not doing it because, even just because, I need clean dishes, doing it as thank you to the universe, to my highest self, to God, for allowing me to have an existence right now where I have dishes and I have a clean place to live. And so, it's been hard kind of translating that to all of the house chores, because there's so fucking many of them, and it's all very deeply individual and personal for me. But I have been still like self-reflecting a lot, and I realized that for me, I struggle with what's called executive dysfunction. And so I will overgeneralize what needs to be done, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I just need to clean the entire house. Like, that's it, just need to clean the entire house. And then I get so overwhelmed with the list, the ongoing list. But it's not even a list. That's the part that I think is throwing me off, is because it's not a list in my head. It's just like all the words at once of like vacuum, dust, mop, wipe down, all the different stuff, but it's all at once. There is no sequential processing for me, and that's what is throwing me off and putting me into executive dysfunction. So what helps is, I make a master list of everything I think that needs to be done, and then from that I go and I make a smaller list, and I'm like, okay, well, what needs to be done today? Like, what is the most pressing out of all this stuff? So I pick like 2 or 3 items that I'm going to do today. And if those still look too big, then I say, okay, I'm going to break those tasks down even more. I'm going to pick one part of the first thing that needs to be done, one part of the second thing that needs to be done, one part of the third thing that needs to be done. So like, say I take the whole condo. I'm like, okay, I need to do the main floor, right? And I'm like, okay, the main 3 areas on the main floor are the bathroom, the kitchen, and the living room. All right, I'm gonna break that down even more. In the kitchen, I need to wipe down the countertops, and the living room, I need to wipe down the dining room table, and in the bathroom, I need to scrub the toilet or something. And I find that when I give myself just one task in each room, I actually go above and beyond, like literally every single time. I may not do the whole fridge, but if I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna clean the vegetable drawer in the fridge, then I find myself being like, well, that was really quick, so I'm just gonna do the fruit drawer as well, and I'm just gonna wipe down the very bottom. And so then I get 3 things done in the fridge, and I'm like, okay, on to the next one. The living room, I just need to wipe down the table, so I do that, and then I'm like, well, now there's crumbs all on the carpet, so I'm just gonna vacuum too real quick. And so I end up getting a lot more done when I plan for less. Whereas when I plan everything, I get nothing done, or very, very little, because most of the time I'm just sitting there feeling so overwhelmed and anxious that I almost feel paralyzed. And I know that a lot of people with ADHD seem to suffer from this. I am not diagnosed with ADHD, but they say that like complex post-traumatic stress disorder can look a bit like ADHD, or even depression can look a bit like ADHD with executive dysfunction. So I think it's important for people, regardless of if you have any kind of diagnosis. Executive dysfunction feels like this: when you are so overwhelmed that you are immobilized with like anxiety or fear or just exhaustion, even like pre-exhaustion. You're exhausted just from going through in your head everything you need to do, and you end up doing nothing, and then it makes it worse the next day, and then it snowballs, and then like 5 years of your life have gone by, and you're like, man, I haven't scrubbed the baseboards in like 5 years. I'm just kidding, it hasn't been that long, but it's just, yeah, breaking it down. And even if you break it down and it still feels too big, break it down some more. Maybe your list looks like, okay, I wipe down a countertop, and I vacuum one corner of a room, or I like vacuum just around the dining room table, and I make my bed in my room or something. I guarantee if you're anything like me, you're gonna start one thing in there, and then you're gonna be like, well, I also need to do this. Now, the tricky part is not half doing it and then starting another task, which I also struggle with. So if I find myself doing that, I limit myself to having 2 to 3 tasks going on in one room at a time, because sometimes it does work better like that. My mind just kind of like webs itself, and I'm like, oh, well, while I'm doing this, I can also run over here and grab this for that, but I can do that really quick while I can. I don't know, does anyone else's brain work like this? Help. But just breaking it down smaller and smaller until you can consume that size of a task. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all, even if you don't go above and beyond. And don't hold yourself to that expectation that you go above and beyond, because when I do that, I still have the executive dysfunction. It's like I can't trick myself into doing it. I have to genuinely be like, okay, you're just gonna do this, and like fully believe it, because otherwise, if I'm like, oh no, I'll just wipe down the countertop, but then I'm like, oh no, but I actually need to clean the whole fridge, I need to refill this soap dispenser, and then also like clean out the microwave and wipe down the cabinets, and then I just sit there on the couch thinking about everything I need to do, and I'm like, I'm not in the kitchen. I'm not in the kitchen. Come on, get up. Just need to wipe down the countertop. That's it. But then also the fridge is really dirty. cycle through. It's so annoying, and I do know quite a few friends of mine that struggle with something similar. And yeah, I actually helped a friend with the terminology of executive dysfunction today, which I didn't realize they didn't know. But they're like, wow, I didn't know there was a word for that experience. And I was like, yeah, it sucks. And they're like, yeah, it does. But so yeah, just break down the housework into smaller bits, and combining that mental hack, putting the mental part of it in balance, then I also am putting the spirit part in balance as well, and it makes it an enjoyable experience, because you can do it and get it done, and that gives you kind of like a cleaning high, where you feel super productive after it's all done, and you you get that little boost of dopamine where you're like, look at my clean house. Look how nice that looks. But it's hard relying just on that, because if that's all you have during it, for me, sometimes I will like slowly lose the motivation like halfway through, and then I stop. And because I'm doing 3 tasks at once in a room, it's kind of more messy than when I started. I have to complete it all for it to look better, right? And if I stop, if I lose my steam in the middle of it, then it's worse than it was, and I feel worse than before. So to stop me from losing steam halfway through a room, I have to keep this idea of like when I start feeling like upset that I have to do this, I'm like, wait, okay, like, why am I mad that I'm making my bed? Because I could not have a bed. Am I not happy that I have a nice memory foam topper and memory foam pillows and all this stuff? Like, that makes me, I need to like sit in that and be grateful for it as I take care of it, because that's what motivates you to take care of your things, I think, is being really like truly presently grateful for them. And I think when we're not sitting in the present, it is easy to walk out of gratitude, because gratitude is a very present thing. Even if you're retroactively grateful for something, you have to feel like gratitude in the present. Being grateful in the past does not affect you in the present. Nor does the potential to be grateful in the future affect you in the present. Gratitude is definitely something that is just like, it needs to be felt here and now, to be worth really anything for the experience of being human. I mean, you know. Anyways, so, yeah. The practicing being grateful for what I'm taking care of in the moment helps me to get to that end, and then I also get that nice little dopamine or oxytocin or serotonin, whatever happy chemical is working in there. Probably endorphins from the physical part of it. But, yeah, so I get the spiritual hit, the mental hit at the end, where it's like, yay, I cleaned my house. And I'm trying to figure out how to balance in the body aspect, but I do think that like just the physical exercise for someone who like struggles with chronic pain, it throws me into worse pain to overdo it, so I can't like go too hard with it. So I think cleaning the house is probably as much physical exertion as I can stand right now. I can walk around at parks and zoos and clean a house, but I am not running any marathons or lifting anything over 50 pounds. Gotta work on the body balance, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit of my, like, I guess, housework journey. Spring has hit. I definitely am affected emotionally, mentally, spiritually by the seasons. And spring makes me want to clean everything, which is nice, because winter, it makes me like hermity and like holed up in my house, and so things probably inevitably get a little dirtier than they do when I'm not in the house 24/7. So yeah, spring is a necessary cleaning vibe for me, and that's how I've been handling it, doing little bits at a time. And today I looked back at the stuff I'd done all week, and I was like, wow, I really got like a lot more accomplished than I feel like I usually would when I set out to just like clean the whole house in one go. I'm like, oh yeah, this will just take me a day, I'll clean all 3 floors, and it's like, no, that's not happening. This is unrealistic. So like yesterday, I think what I did for myself was I dusted everything and wiped down all the surfaces and vacuumed on the main floor. And that's kind of like, I feel like that's a lot to get done, because it's kind of a big-ish area. And so, for one whole floor to dust, wipe down surfaces, and vacuum was a lot, but I didn't approach it that way. Like, I think I was just gonna dust the whole area. And then after I dusted, I was like, well, the table underneath where like the lampshade was is like dirty now, and like I dusted that, but I was like, I just want to pick everything up off the surfaces and wipe it all down. And so I did that because I just wanted to. That's the thing, like, I don't know, I guess I figured out how to trick myself into wanting to clean the house. Also, spring just makes me want to do that, I guess. I don't know, it's just a perfect storm right now for like a really clean house for me, so I'm gonna ride this wave as best I can. I definitely have, I'm human. I found myself still hitting different points where like, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so tired of cleaning. And I think the answer for that is letting myself stop. Even if I only put in maybe 3 hours of cleaning and I wanted to clean for 6 hours. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna stop for the day. I truly tell myself that I am okay with stopping for the day, and I don't see myself as less valuable because I didn't hit my expectation, right? And then I find that when I can do that for myself, then after like an hour or two break, I'm ready to go again, and I still end up getting in that 6 hours I'd originally intended, and I don't dog on myself for taking a break. It's kind of just listening to my body, I guess, and my mind and spirit, at the same time, just kind of listening and being like, yo, what do you need? Like, and not shaming myself for needing more rest than maybe I thought I would need. I'm getting old. I'm 31. I'm going to be 32 this year in a couple months. So I'm getting old. But, I just wanted to share a little bit, and I hope that someone somewhere out there can find this useful. Maybe take what I did and adapt it to a way that's going to work really well for you, and have your own brain hack method to where cleaning the house is not a burden, it's a joy. And so, and I look forward to, it's just going to get happier and easier to do each time, because that's been the trend so far. So, yay! I'm excited about the journey. I hope everyone has a good day, and remember, just break it down into bite-sized pieces, and if you find yourself losing steam part of the way through, remember that you're fucking lucky to have a house to clean, because not everyone has that. And some people even that have houses don't have the cleaning supplies to clean them, and you've got both. So, yeah. I hope everyone has a good day and cleans one thing in one room today. Bye.